welcome back to the So There I Was podcast. I'm Travis Womack, your host once again, and today we have a special guest, Neal Strathman, and coming us from Kansas, and he was a 21-year veteran in the Navy, did a whole bunch of cool stuff, but primarily a nuclear mechanic on a submarine. So definitely from a paratrooper's point of view, we got to hear some fun stuff about that because we don't like the water in the airborne infantry. This is not our thing. So, well, Neal, welcome, and glad to have you here.
Thank you, Travis.
So
Good to be here.
So, just by that alone, a nuclear mechanic, I can only imagine the stories you have. But I have to ask because I'm 6'4". How tall are you?
Oh, I'm right at 5'9", depending on who's measuring. So call it that. But but on the submarines, we had guys that were every bit of 6'6". So
just living their life ducking things. So,
yeah,
that's miserable. So I have to ask again, part two of my, because I'm immature paratrooper, is what's the longest you've been underwater? Like,
I think it'd be longest. Well, you're not technically underwater the whole time, right?
Submerged.
Let's say 55, 60 days ish.
That's crazy,
right? And yeah, but we would. And then, even if we're on the surface, like we would pull into San Diego Harbor to resupply, and they would send a tugboat out into the middle of the harbor. We wouldn't actually pull into the harbor and put lines across. They'd put the tugboat and stores on load or mail, what have you. But even then, like I was probably sleeping for that, so I didn't see the sunlight at all. I have, and so, but then everybody else also complains about the sunlight. Right, like you went however long without seeing sunlight, and well, I was on the U.S.S. Alabama, and that was based out of Bangor, Washington. So Bangor, Bremerton, kind of across the water from Seattle. You weren't going to see sunlight for 8 months of the year anyway, up there. So
was Denzel your XO? I heard he did a pretty banger job.
Oh man, that movie, like some people would get revved up about it. I'd say the submarine community is way closer to Down Periscope. And then if you put that together with the German U-boat movie Das Boot, then that's submarine life. You smash those two together real hard, and that's submarine.
It's not Hunt for Red October? Not really?
No.
I love when they do that. And those of you on the boat are like, no, we don't do that. So...
Nobody has a dog peeing in the hallway. Nobody plays music in the bunk rooms ever, literally ever. Like that, like the bunk rooms are always quiet. And if they're ever not quiet, everybody's awake because we're running drills or we're cleaning. Right. And so there is literally no music going on the submarine unless you've got a headset on ever.
Right. Well, because like 2/3 of the crew is either 1/3's always down sleeping, and another third is about to be going down, and so it's just that rotation. Like if you're the person that clangs the bunk, you're like, we're going to kill you.
Yeah, well, and it's on an 18-hour day too.
Oh wow!
So it's 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours for that, and so the really thing that great thing that helps you out is if you're fully qualified and everything, and then you get on a workout schedule. Right. Well, then you get 10 or 11 workouts in a week because you're doing one every day because your day is only 18 hours long.
See, these are the things they don't tell you in the pamphlet. They're not in the trifold.
They were never in the trifold.
That's crazy. So what years were you on the Alabama?
I would have gotten there in May of 2001, late April 2001, May 2001, and then I left in January of 2006.
Okay. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So the Navy does assignments completely differently, obviously, than other branches.
Right. And so on the submarine side or the, shipboard side, enlisted people typically look at right at 4 years, 3.5 to 5 years, for their deployable rotation, and then you could go to shore duty for about 3 years. And then the officers are a lot quicker on the rotation cycle. They're 3 years at sea and then 2 years shore, something like that. But
that's crazy. I spent 10 years enlisted, and 10 years as an officer, and many people I've talked to, it's unique that the officers are treated like their knowledge base is vastly different than what it is in like to be an officer on a submarine. Like you have to have an understanding of like nuclear power
Oh
and
yeah,
I mean
yeah.
all this stuff. And I'm like, I understand global logistics a little bit, but it's insane.
Yeah, no, the uh, nuclear officers. There are some supply officers on the submarine that are
Right.
not fully nuclear trained, but in general, every other officer is fully nuclear trained, and those officers all will go through and qualify engineer. And
Right.
it's not like they're actually serving as the engineer of the submarine, but it effectively looks like a master's degree in nuclear engineering
Right.
for.
It's insane how
And
much
so,
school they got
yeah,
to
oh
go.
yeah,
Everybody. I
oh yeah,
mean, even you. I'm like to
yeah,
to enlist as a. I'll get the ranks wrong. I'll just call it E2 or E3 because
right.
there's like 500 words.
Seaman. Well, okay. So, and then the Navy also breaks down the junior enlisted ranks. The E1 through E3, there's airmen, firemen, seamen, construction men,
Right.
and then hospital corpsmen, and all of those fall under that. And so they're like, there's airmen in the Navy, and like there absolutely are. That's one rank a person could hold, right?
It's a start, literally.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting because like you know, you enlist and you go through basic training and like you're in. How long were you in school?
year and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so just over 9 months in Charleston, South Carolina, and then that was for machinist mate A school, and then nuclear power school, and then went up to 6 months in upstate New York, Saratoga Springs, Ballston Spa area for
Wow.
naval nuclear power prototype training, and that's where you actually operate a research reactor that the Navy's taking data on to see how it performs over the life of it. And
That's a year and a half of training plus basic, which is y'all's 9 weeks, 10.
9 weeks,
9 weeks.
yeah.
So you're looking at that's another two
If you
months.
throw basic in there, it the whole thing
Almost
comes
two.
out to about a year and a half for
Wow.
me on the machinist mates. The other nuclear enlisted people, the electricians and electronics technicians, those guys had an A school of 26 weeks, and I think mine was 16 or 14
Okay.
weeks. So,
So that's a huge amount of investment though, just for the time. Like you're
oh yeah,
what was your post school? Is it 4 years after that?
yeah, yeah. The minimum enlistment coming in is 6 years.
Okay, for that job. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes.
yeah.
That's what I figured. Like, we do that for like linguists. It's like if we're going to teach
Oh
you
yeah,
how to speak Farsi, it takes 2 years to do that. So we want to
right.
return on that investment on the Army side. I forget what it was. Like I know I was infantry, so it was 15 weeks and move out. It's pretty easy to kick in doors and blow stuff up. It's you know it's actually kind of fun. So so tell me, you gotta have some crazy stories on a submarine, 55 days underwater. I mean, people have to get like crazy in some capacity.
Right. Well, yeah. Some guys. We had one guy that literally got seasick. Like, and he would have headaches and get nausea. Like the instant that we went away from port, like we'd shut the hatches, and this guy would be sick, and it was ridiculous. Because and the nuclear pipeline, if you do really well going through the school, they will retain you as a trainer at the
Right.
very end. That there's a chance, and so he got retained as a trainer. He was showing up to the submarine as an E6 that had never been out to sea
Wow.
because he was a student and then went through as an instructor at the training group, right? And so he was
Wow.
showing up at 4.5 years in the Navy, going out to sea for the first time, and he just started getting sick. And it was like,
That's
okay, man. But and then I guess the day everybody remembers where they were,
oh yeah.
September 11th, 2001. So that was me getting back on September 10th, the evening of September 10th. I got back for my first time ever uh, going out to sea. The U.S.S. Alabama did a mini DASO little thing where we go out and we test our competence for release of nuclear weapons,
Right.
right? And so our missile guys go through a training thing Like they prove themselves to be competent at their job. We're out to sea, I forget how many days, whatever. And then we go back into port and we're pulling back into port. And one of my buddies comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, you're not leaving." I was like, "What are you talking about? We just pulled back in." And like, "No, we got the boat now. You got first shift. You got duty on the first day. You're staying on the boat."
That's very.
And so, well, and so I was like, "Oh, okay." So that night, I'm sleeping in the rack and wake up the next morning, eat breakfast. And at this point in my Navy career, I'm qualified to take the trash off the submarine. And I had gotten gun qual. So I was qualified to carry a shotgun for security personnel and a 9mm for security personnel. That's all I'm qualified to do, period. Right. Like I'm just literally qualified to wear my dosimetry badge as a nuclear worker. Right. And so I'm taking the trash off the submarine morning of September 11th. And one of the guys comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, did you hear what happened to the World Trade Center?" And because I've been in the Navy just short of 2 years at this point, like a year and 9 months, my alarm bells start going off. This guy's messing with me. Right. I've been in long
Right.
enough to know
No sarcasm.
we're gonna mess with the new guy. And I'm the new
Right.
guy. I have no idea what happened in the last 4 days because I've been underwater on my submarine, right? And I didn't know how to get the Associated Press updates that we used to get at the time or other news flashes and stuff. I don't even know if my email was set up properly. But he asked me, I was like, "Do you know what happened to the World Trade Center?" And so my bells go off and I was like, "What, did it get bombed again? Like it did in whatever
94.
92,
Yeah.
yeah, Bin Laden the
Yeah.
first time
Yeah.
he hit it, right?" And he's like, "No, man, a plane crashed into it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, a plane crashed into the World
We're
Trade
thinking
Center."
like
It's
Cessna,
like,
like little. That's what I thought too.
and I think whatever, and I assume he's lying to me, right? I don't even think he's telling me the
Right.
truth at this point. And so I'm going around and I'm making sure stuff is cleaned up and everybody's coming into work that morning. And another guy in the engineering space stops me and he's like, "Hey, man, did you hear what happened to the Pentagon?" And now I'm just like overboard with it. I was like, "What happened to the Pentagon?" He's like, "A plane crashed into it." And I was like, "I thought it was a World Trade Center. You guys got to get your story straight if you're going to mess with the new guy. I pay attention here, okay?" Like, and then, yeah, literally it was 4 hours later, we're going back out to sea. Like, our senior enlisted supply, the senior enlisted person for supply is typically the chief cook on the submarine. And so he runs to the little mini mart on the sub base, grabs skull, cigarettes, underwear, toothbrush, toothpaste, I think is what like the loadout was for his emergency grab. And then, yeah, we go through the emergency engine room startup, like, and everybody's like, and I think it was, a year later, 2 years later, one of the engineering like critique groups came out and said, "You guys did not do the correct things on September 11th for the engineering startup. You were following the nuclear manual procedure, but the ship's operation manual procedure says something different." And so, I think we got dinged on that, but everybody else was like, "Well, we're also the only ones to do that in the last 20 years or something." So,
We'll give you an alibi on that one.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
It's been so interesting. Like, I mean, I was in college at 9/11, but I love hearing where people were that were in like West Point or the Naval Academy or or at sea.
yeah.
I always joke. My dad was on a tractor plowing our field. Had no idea anything was going on for like 7 hours. He came in and he's like, "What's everybody upset about?" It's like I had no clue because he's out there
Right.
at 6 a.m. plowing. So it's crazy. So y'all were like the first like vessel to respond. I mean, respond in quotes.
Right. There was literally something, September 12th, the front page of the Seattle Times, Seattle Post Intelligencer, the newspaper, had the U.S.S. Fife inbound to provide anti-air defense for the submarine port in Bangor, and us outbound. And we kind of crossed paths in the channel out there in the Puget Sound. And so that made the front page of the newspaper. And that was actually one of the pictures that our command group would hand out for, your achievement medals and all that stuff, like your CO writes you a thank you letter stuff. And like, that picture went into all those awards that the USS Alabama handed out for the next 5 years or 6 years, something. So
That's awesome. That's a unique like opportunity, I guess, for lack of better words, to say you're a part of that.
yeah, and but everybody's like, and then we were obviously a nuclear weapons platform, and guys like, oh well, we're gonna go respond, and it's like, I don't know if this is one of those situations where we actually respond with nuclear
Yeah,
weapons, guys, but we're safer when we're out to sea, so let's just get out to sea and
yeah.
go underwater. And
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you. Is like, do y'all feel that way? Like, because I know for me, I tell people all the time. They ask me, like my college friends and stuff will say, what's it like jumping out of a plane or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's just great because everybody you work with is just as dumb as you are because we all do it.
that, or all of you share that common bond,
Yeah,
and it's ridiculous, right?
right.
Like, oh hey, we're going to put 180 dudes together, you're going to go underwater for 60 or 80 days, and we're going to have you operate a nuclear reactor, sleep in between nuclear missile silos, and then when we need to make oxygen, we're going to have you purify the water and then put
Right.
purified water into a high voltage chamber that causes the water to ionize. So we strip out the hydrogen and oxygen. So inside this chamber, we have water, pure hydrogen, and pure oxygen. And so our O2 generators are affectionately known as the bomb,
Yeah.
if you understand the
Oh
danger
yeah.
of it,
Oh yeah.
right? But then it's like, oh no, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this on repeat because that's what we do,
Right.
right? And the